The Nats Chat end-of-season podcast party will be at Walters at 7 p.m. on Friday night, October 10th. Spread the word among your friends. We're aiming for our highest attendance yet to celebrate our 5th season of coverage. Walters is located across the street from the ballpark.
Listen, life's all about leveling up. Whether you're handling business on the field or kicking it in your zone, you like to celebrate with cigars that match the moment. That's why you should link up with Famous Cigars to bring you a wild deal. Right now, you can grab 8 premium cigars for just $8. You heard that right. 8 top-rated cigars at $1 a stick. Top quality brands like Oliva, Romeo y Julieta, and Davidoff. Hand-picked just for you and worth over $80. Hit up famouscigars.com/cam and lock in this exclusive deal. While you're there, check out their insane selection of premium cigars, all shipped fresh and fast from their massive 20,000 square foot humidor. That's half a football field. Famous Cigars has been in the game since 1939 and still family owned. So celebrate every win with the folks at Famous. 8 cigars for $8. famouscigars.com/cam.
Chandler, the right-hander, steps, kicks, and deals. Fastball, ground ball, base hit past the diving third baseman Devaney. And the Nationals are in the hit column for the first time. Cruz turns around a 99-mile-per-hour fastball and rifles it on the ground past the diving third baseman. And the Nationals finally have a hit and a base runner against Bubba Chandler. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Chandler the set, the kick and the delivery. Cruz takes off for third and a ground ball, base hit through the open left side. Cruz will keep on chugging and he'll score. Nationals lead 1-0. Cruz clapping his hands, crossing the plate. Hassel's RBI single puts the Nats on the board. And with Cruz running, the third baseman Devaney moved off his position to cover third, and Hassel hit it where he used to be. And the Nationals have a run on the board and a 1-0 lead.
Ogasawara ready. The kick and the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to deep left field. Wood going back, still back. He's just going to watch it. And it lands in section 101 over the Pirates bullpen in left center field. A long home run for Jared Triolo. It's his 6th of the year, RBI number 21. And the Pirates now lead by the score 5-1.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who was at Nationals Park. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. Disappointing loss for the Nationals on Saturday. A 5-1 loss to the Pittsburgh Pirates at Nationals Park in Game 2 of a 3-game series. This was a game in which the Nats blew a 1-0 8th-inning lead. The Nats allowed 4 runs in the top of the 8th. The Nats in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 61-87, worst record in the National League East, second worst record in the National League. The Pirates have the 3rd worst record in the NL, 65-84. We always enjoy hearing from you. You can find us on X at Nats_chat. You can hit us up on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. We have an email address, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We offer shout-outs on the podcast. If you would like to send a hello, a congratulations, a happy birthday to someone who you care about, who you know listens to this podcast, contact the man who runs the podcast, Tim Shovers. That email address again, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. Starting pitcher Josiah Gray, he made a minor league rehab start for AA-Harrisburg on Saturday evening. Are we getting closer to Josiah Gray pitching in the majors this season? We'll get to that, but the Nats starting pitcher on Saturday, Andrew Alvarez, he did really well. 6 scoreless innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. The Nats offense, however, did not do well. The Nats bullpen did not do well. I don't know how many Nats fans are that invested in the outcomes of Nats games this season at this point, but I tell you, this outcome on Saturday was a shame, Mark. 1-0 8th-inning lead. The Nats end up losing by 4 runs.
I think the shame of it, Al, is that over the last month or so, we've become accustomed to this bullpen closing that game out, where it's now become expected that they're going to put up zeros and finish off a 1-run win. Certainly the first 4 months of the year, we weren't thinking in those terms. You kind of always dreaded the worst. And to their credit, they've turned it around so much that you are surprised when it happens like this. Certainly when it's not just a little bit of a meltdown, but a full scale 5 runs scored on a flurry of walks. And then, you know, let's be clear, there was not a lot of hard contact outside of the home run off Shinosuke Ogasawara in the 9th. A lot of well-placed singles, ground balls, comebacker that bounced off P.J. Poulin, a sinking liner to right that Dylan Cruz might have had a shot at and decided not to go for it. That was kind of a nickel and dime way to give it up, but they did give it up, and a game that was really there for the taking. It would have been a pretty remarkable win given the fact they were being perfect gamed into the 6th inning. If they had been able to pull that one off 1-0, it's a great win. Instead, it's unfortunately the kind of loss that we became accustomed to earlier this season.
Yeah, the bullpen was not good, but you could make a pretty compelling argument the offense was worse. A mere 1 run in this game, a mere 3 hits in this game for the Nats. That was it. Also, just 1 walk. 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. All 3 of the Nats' hits were singles. It's a minor miracle that the Nats came as close as they did to winning this game with how bad the offense was. The Nats got worked by the Pirates starting pitcher, Bubba Chandler. Great name. He made just his 2nd career MLB regular season start. 1 run in 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, no walks. And there just was like next to nothing happening offensively in this game. The Nats' lone run scored via a Robert Hassel III RBI single off some really good base running by Dylan Cruz. Hassel as the Nats starting center fielder and number 9 batter, 1 for 3 with the RBI single, also had a stolen base. James Wood, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 0 for 3 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. CJ Abrams, he is the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, 0 for 4 with a throwing error. The Nats' other 2 hits in this game, singles by Dalen Lyle. He was the Nats starting designated hitter and cleanup batter. And the aforementioned Dylan Cruz, he went 1 for 3 with his single. He was the Nats starting right fielder and number 7 batter. We have seen this, right? When the Nats don't have it, they really don't have it, offensively speaking. We've seen this a bunch. We've talked about that a bunch. And this was a classic example of the Nats not having it. This was a tough watch offensively.
It's 3 singles and a walk, and the walk didn't come until the 9th inning. I feel like almost every time we're talking about one of these games where the offense either gets shut out or has nothing going on at the plate, it inevitably includes 0 walks, or in this case, maybe 1 that comes late in the game. It's, I think, been such a big component of the nights that they struggle is a lack of patience. They were making out so quickly in this game. Bubba Chandler gets through his first 3 innings on 30 pitches. Through the 4th on 46, barely more than 10 per inning. Now, Bubba Chandler is a top prospect. He was ranked top 15 in baseball coming into the season, throws the lights out of it, 100, 101. A lot of people thought that he should have been called up sooner, and the Pirates left him down there. They started him out in the bullpen several times, gave him his first start last time out against Milwaukee, and he got rocked for 9 runs. Well, you saw a much better version of him in this game. And, members of the Nats were pointing out, and I think it's worth saying because this has come up before in the past, a 4 o'clock game, especially late in the season, the shadows can be pretty tough. So that kind of stuff coupled with the shadows, and it made for a bad day at the plate. But when that's happening, you just got to find something to do. And it felt like there was no adjustment. There was no, hey, let's at least try to work the count. Maybe this guy will throw some stuff out of the zone. They were making outs on 1, 2, 3 pitches very often. And it wasn't until the 6th and Dylan Cruz kind of took matters into his own hands that they got anything going offensively.
It was really good to see Cruz do as he did. I mean, I don't want to go too crazy. They scored 1 run in this game, right? But we know what Cruz can be. Look, he's here to be a franchise-type player. He's got to put up better numbers than what he's putting up. But in terms of the effort, in terms of him being like a catalyst, in terms of him providing a spark, he does that, man. And he's a lot of fun to watch, and we saw that with what he did in that run-scoring inning for the Nats.
What you saw is him saying, I'm going to take control of this game one way or the other, and I'm going to find a way to get us a run on the board so we can take a 1-0 lead. It's a single. He tags up from first on a fly ball to right. And he made a great point about it that part of the calculation of whether to gamble on that is the fact that he's playing right field himself in this game. And he knows late afternoon, fly ball to right, it's right in the sun, there's glare. The outfielder might be so consumed with trying to keep track of the ball that he's not paying attention to the fact that the runner is going to tag up. And so he used that a little bit to his advantage, got himself in the scoring position, and then you run on a 3-2 count. That's not that uncommon. But on a 3-2 count, when you're on second base and there's nobody on first, that's unconventional. He went for it. Hassel lines the ball probably close to where the third baseman would have been if Cruz wasn't running on the pitch. Cruz has to kind of dive out of the way, make sure he doesn't get hit by the batted ball. It gets through because the third baseman's now covering the bag, and he comes around to score. If they somehow win this game 1-0, yes, we're talking about Andrew Alvarez and the job he did. We're also talking about how Dylan Cruz took control of the game and found a way to score a run when they couldn't do anything offensively. So I know he's not having a great season. I know there's still a long way for him to go. But the way he played that inning, I think, is evidence of the kind of player he wants to be. It's just a matter of him becoming that player on a more regular basis. And I think it is somebody that the rest of the team can feed off of. Yes, it boils down to production more than anything else, but there is such a thing as the hustle and the aggressiveness that he showed there in trying to take over a game that really was not in their control at that point.
And if the results come in terms of the batting, you combine that with the effort and, the feisty nature, the spark plug nature, and you have yourself a heck of a player. So, it's imperative that the batting results come, because otherwise you're talking about, a nice little spark plug, and he's not here to be that. He's here to be a lot more than just that. I mean, the one thing I do keep coming back to with Dylan Cruz, and I'll go to his Baseball Savant page and look at this, and it's been like this throughout the season. The batted ball data screams that his results should be a lot better. I mean, coming into this game, his weighted on-base average, you read that like a batting average, was 280. His expected weighted on-base average based on the quality of contact was 322. I mean, that's a pretty significant difference. So, I'd like to think that at some point, at this point, we have to say probably next season, the results match what he's doing in terms of hitting balls hard. At the same time, the results are tough. They're not good. He's got an OPS that is not good. His on-base percentage is paltry. His slugging percentage is paltry. So, those numbers have got to come up, and it's very important that they do. But for now, I think we could still have hope that the results will eventually match the process. And yeah, the effort is there. This is a team that at times looks like it is asleep. Let's be frank. Dylan Cruz does not play that way. He does not look that way. And you hope that maybe that rubs off on some guys, too.
He clearly wants to be the guy, and he has been the guy at other levels of baseball, especially at LSU when he led them to the national title. I'm sure deep down this has been incredibly frustrating for him, not just to not be playing well himself, but to be on a team that has had very little, if anything, to play for in months now. He's used to winning. And so you keep hearing him talk about the importance of September and saying that if we want to get to where we want to be in the end, it's important that we play well in September, that we win as many games as we can and try to establish a culture here. He's used that word culture a few times. He wants to be a major part of that. And that's great. They kind of knew that's who they were getting when they drafted him. But you're right that you can say all that and it sounds great, but within that clubhouse and even outside the clubhouse, it carries a lot more weight when the numbers match the effort and the desire and all that. So hopefully he gets there. He certainly wants to get there. He wants to be, I think, the leader of this team, and that's a testament to him. He's just not quite there yet from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, Cruz's OPS for this regular season is 634, 205 batting average, 277 on base percentage, 357 slugging percentage.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnyWalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.
2-1. McCutchen grounds one softly to House at third. He makes the play moving in, throws across to first. It's in time. 6 shutout innings for Andrew Alvarez in his third major league start.
The biggest bright spot for the Nats in this 5-1 loss to the Pirates on Saturday by far was Andrew Alvarez, who was so good in just his third career MLB regular season start. 6 shutout innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. He gave up just 3 hits, all of which were singles, issued a wild pitch. but threw a ton of strikes, 85 pitches, 55 strikes, 30 balls. Now, yes, the Pirates are a really bad offensive team, but also, yes, the Nats took Andrew Alvarez in the 12th round of the 2021 MLB draft out of California Polytechnic State University. Andrew Alvarez does not have to apologize to anyone for any opponent against which he does well. He looks so good in this game. It's 3 starts, so we're going to, not go too crazy here. But so far, so good for Andrew Alvarez. He is showing himself quite well.
Well, I'll put it this way. He's got a 1.15 ERA through the first 3 starts of his career. The only pitcher in Nationals history with a lower ERA than that in their first 3 starts was Tanner Roark, who was at 0.95. And the caveat there is that Roark actually made 8 relief appearances before ever making a start. Now, he was really good when he started, but those weren't the first 3, major league games that he pitched in. This has been outstanding from Alvarez and unexpected. It's not like he was knocking down the door in Rochester and saying, hey, you got to put me in this rotation. He's only up here because of Mackenzie Gore's shoulder inflammation and quick trip on the IL. And it does create the dilemma now of what do you do? Gore's back. At the moment, it's a 6-man rotation. They have a doubleheader Tuesday against the Braves, so they have to use 6 for now. Once they get through that, they've got to decide, do we stick with the 6, in which case Alvarez stays? Do they go back to a 5-man, in which case maybe Alvarez goes, or maybe somebody else goes who hasn't earned it as much? It's pretty hard right now to make a case that Andrew Alvarez should not remain in the rotation the rest of the season, because if nothing else, you want to find out, is this legit in any way, or is this smoke and mirrors? So far, I understand that he may not be able to keep it up at this rate, but he looks so comfortable and so in command when he's out there, and that's a real credit to him.
It says a lot about a lot that Brad Lord and Andrew Alvarez, 2 guys who were drafted so deep into the MLB drafts in which those guys were drafted, are doing as those guys are doing. And then you look at some of these other guys on this pitching staff and they're having the problems that they're having. 100% Alvarez should stay in the rotation the rest of the season. I mean, why wouldn't the Nats just stick with a 6-man rotation? Is there a compelling argument for them not to do that the rest of the way?
I think the only questions would be, do they think they need the extra reliever, which they've pretty much done a good job of not overworking guys too much. And the starters have gone deep enough that hasn't really been a problem. So I guess it's that. And then if you felt like you wanted any of these starters to stay on a 5-day rotation, but I think as many young starters as they have, I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with giving them an extra day of rest between starts. So I see a case for keeping the 6, or at minimum, if you don't want to do that, maybe you say to a Mitchell Parker, hey, go finish out the year in the bullpen, something like that. We'll see. They haven't gotten to that point yet, but certainly Alvarez should not be going anywhere. He has earned the right to keep starting for them.
Andrew Alvarez, 12th round pick in 2021. Brad Lord, 18th round pick in 2022. And those guys in this series against the Pirates doing a good job. Lord in the 6-5 win on Friday evening, 3 runs in 6 innings. I mean, at the very least, you'd think that Andrew Alvarez is making a case to be a part of a competition for the Nats starting rotation for next season. I mean, there's this, looming caveat of we don't know who's going to be running baseball ops, what the philosophies will be, what the actions this offseason will be. But in theory, there should be multiple open spots for the Nats rotation for opening day 2026. I mean, if the Nats don't trade Mackenzie Gore, I think you're looking at Mackenzie Gore and Josiah Gray as the definites for the rotation. And beyond those 2, I don't think anybody should be guaranteed anything. And so, I think potentially, again, it depends on what they do this offseason, but you could have competition for 2, maybe 3 spots in the opening day rotation. And if the Nats trade Mackenzie Gore, who knows how many open spots could be on the line come spring training. This could actually be a pretty competitive spring training in terms of competition for that Nats opening day rotation.
So I would say if Cade Cavalli is healthy and is fine down the stretch, I think given the pedigree, he probably has a spot in the rotation, even if he hasn't, got the track record yet, the big league level. So I think he would. In Josiah Gray's case, and we'll talk about this as we get into his rehab start, are they going to look at him as he's in there from day one and he's good to go all year, or do they slow play it at all with him, knowing they have to watch his innings limit, anything like that? That's something eventually we're going to have to figure out. Only thing I'm going to say about Alvarez is this. It's been really great to see this, of course, but I also know we've been duped before by others who burst onto the scene, who didn't have a pedigree coming in as a top pitching prospect, and they looked good, and you said to yourself, man, they found something here. What a job by player development. They finally turned a low-round draft pick into a good quality big league pitcher. And in some of these cases, over time, it has proven not to be the case. Now, you let him keep going until he pitches his way out of it. No doubt about it, because maybe there is something legitimate to it. But I do want to be careful about not getting too excited yet, because I do feel like we've fallen into this trap before, and we've seen some examples in recent years, especially of guys who look great when they first arrived here, and then after several months and the league figures them out, and maybe the stuff isn't actually as good as you thought it was, and they turn into something far less than what they looked like they were going to be.
Yeah, you're right about Cade Cavalli. I would say if he continues to pitch well, he should be in that opening day rotation. So potentially 2 open spots for the rotation. But again, that's assuming that the Nats don't trade Mackenzie Gore, and I don't think we should assume that. You know, Yoan Adon, Mitchell Parker, Jake Irvin, we have danced this dance plenty of times here in recent years. But you got to hope that at some point one of these guys proves to be legitimate. And like I said, just have them compete. Alvarez, Irvin, Parker, DJ Hers, maybe Shinosuke Ogasawara, whoever else, just have them battle it out next camp and just kind of see who emerges. There hasn't been a lot of that here in recent years. Like, even during these rebuilding years or these bad years, how much competition really has there been for rotation spots? I mean, for number 5 spots in rotations, maybe. But when's the last time there truly were multiple rotation spots for opening day on the line in a Nats spring training? We have not had a lot of that.
No, you have to go way back to, I think, even before the star-studded rotations that they had in the 2010s. I think the other important thing here is that, and we'll see how it all plays out, because we thought this was going to be the case coming into 2025, and it wasn't. But if they can keep guys healthy, what it allows you to do is pick 5 to start the season with, to break camp with, but then have other options at AAA who've already pitched in the big leagues that show at least some promise. So that if somebody has a bad April, you don't feel compelled to keep them in the rotation forever, because you actually have a viable alternative who's ready to go coming up from AAA. And so if, say, an Andrew Alvarez makes the opening day rotation in 2026 and Mitchell Parker doesn't, and Alvarez struggles in April, but Parker gets off to a good start at AAA, you can flip-flop them. That they have not been in a position to do that kind of stuff here for a while. They've been forced to stick with guys either because of their contracts or because there weren't alternatives at AAA. Maybe you'll actually be in a position next year where you're trying to win a little bit more, and you don't just have to live with a starter with an ERA over 5. But the moment they start to struggle, have a couple of bad starts in a row, you can make a switch and bring up somebody that you feel like you have some faith in to come in and do a better job.
You know, we have not even mentioned Trevor Williams, who was under contract for next season. So he, too, would be an option for that Nationals rotation, as Mark shakes his head.
Rutledge kicks, delivers, swing, and a line drive, 1 hop, couple of hops off the glove of the sprawling Garcia, a base hit into right field. Reynolds has scored. McCutchen around third, he scores, and Cruz around to third as Dylan Cruz gets the ball back in. It's a base hit, 2 runs batted in for Nick York, and it's now the Pirates 4, the Nationals 1.
The Nats bullpen in this 5-1 loss to the Pirates at Nationals Park on Saturday. Not good. The bullpen, look, the last few weeks has done a really good job, but this was a bad outing, man. 5 Nats relievers combined to allow 5 runs in 3 innings on a homer, 3 singles, and 5 walks. And the walks really were what drove you nuts. Clayton Beeter was good. Don't blame him. And he's doing really well. He tossed a perfect top of the 7th with 2 swinging strikeouts. But Cole Henry officially allowed 2 runs in a third of an inning. He would have ended up being a 4-run 8th for the Pirates. Faced 3 batters, but got just 1 out. He issued a leadoff walk and a 1-out walk. Henry in this outing, 18 pitches, just 7 strikes versus 11 balls. PJ Poulin officially allowed 2 runs in a third of an inning. He and the Pirates 4-run 8th, faced 4 batters, but got just 1 out, including giving up a 2-out first pitch. Bases loaded opposite field, 2-run single by Andrew McCutchen to right field for a 2-1 Pirates lead, and issuing a 2-out 4-pitch walk of O'Neal Cruz. So Poulin gives up the single by McCutchen, but to me what was far worse is right after that, you get a 4-pitch walk of O'Neal Cruz. Jackson Rutledge officially tossed a third of his scoreless inning, but he, to the first batter he faced, gave up a 2-out, bases loaded, opposite field 2-run single by Nick York through the right side of the infield on a 1-2 pitch to put the Pirates up 4-1 in that top of the 8th. And if you watch this single, the ball went off second baseman Luis Garcia Jr. in his diving attempt at the ball. We know that Garcia's had a wretched defensive season. That was not an easy play to make, but whenever you see that, you're like, man, would have been nice if the second baseman could have halted that baseball, even made the play. Garcia did neither. And Shinosuke Ogasawara allowed 1 run in 1 inning. Top of the 9th, gave up that run as he gave up a 1-out full count solo homer by Jared Triolo to left field for a 5-1 Pirates lead. And Ogasawara then issued back-to-back 1-out walks. The walks were the thing, I thought anyway. 5 walks issued by Nats relievers in this game.
Yeah, the contact outside of that home run was really not all that special. You have the McCutchen hit, which Dylan Cruz admitted he could have tried to make a diving attempt on, although if he doesn't get to it, 3 runs are going to score, so he pulled up on it. The Garcia play, as soon as it's hit, I'm watching from my vantage point high above home plate. My first thought is there's no way he's going to get to this, and he did not. Are there second basemen who could get to that? Yes, there are. Luis Garcia, not the guy to get to it. And so that's frustrating. You had a comebacker off of Poulin's leg that bounced away. So it really wasn't the contact. It was the walks. And they've been much better at this, lately. Let's acknowledge the bullpen has become somewhat of a strength over the last month or so. And so hopefully this was just the anomaly from that. But yeah, the walks put him in a bad spot. And when you're going up against a Pirates team that, as you pointed out last night, has scored the fewest runs in baseball, don't help them out. Force them to put the ball in play and actually score the runs on their own merits. Don't just give them free bases. And as you said, 5 walks in 2 innings there in the 8th and the 9th. That, to me, I agree, was the story of the bullpen, less so than the hits they actually gave up.
With Cole Henry, I tell you, it's hard to know what to make of him because at times he looks really good, but he issues a ton of walks. And this is an issue that he's got to fix if he's ever going to become a true quality reliever. Cole Henry for this regular season has a walks per 9 innings of 5.47. That is sky high for a reliever. You cannot have that. And, we've seen how interim manager Miguel Cairo has deployed Cole Henry. At times, he's used him in the 9th innings, right? He's used him to close out games in which Jose A. Ferrer gets deployed in 8th innings. And, Henry, like I said, he's done some good things. At times, though, it's been rough. And in a game like this, you see him give up 2 more walks. And it's just a reminder of he's got to get his arms around this walk problem, because if he does, he actually could be a really good relief pitcher.
Yeah, all you need to know is he only gives up 7.4 hits per 9 innings. That's a low number. It's all entirely about the walks. Now, he doesn't throw anything straight. His fastball tails to his arm side. His curveball breaks way to the glove side. Now, that's great when it starts in the zone and then closer to the plate moves away. You can get guys to chase at that stuff. The problem that he gets into is it moves so much, especially that curveball, that when he starts on the outside corner, if the hitter picks up on it, they see it's going to break way outside and they have no reason to even think about swinging at it. So there's a lot of non-competitive pitches from him, unfortunately. So it's just a matter of trusting that the stuff is good enough that if you throw it in the vicinity of the plate, they're going to swing at it and the ball's probably not going to land in the middle of the plate because there's so much movement on it. So there's a lot to like there. It's stuff he does need to work on. But I also, try to remember with Cole Henry, this is someone who was a starter throughout his minor league career, tons of injuries, thoracic outlet surgery, kind of desperation move to make him into a reliever this year. And he's done it and stayed healthy and taken on a complete full-fledged major league reliever workload without having ever even done anything like this in the minors before. So credit to him that it appears physically has held up through it all. Hopefully he gets through the end of the year and he now knows, okay, I can do this, and can start working on perfecting the pitches a little bit more, not really worried about the physical aspect of it. The fact he's going to get through, knock on wood, a full major league season without any injury issues, given what he dealt with in the past, and actually be a pretty quality reliever for the most part for them, that's a huge win. And I don't want to lose sight of that because I don't think anybody foresaw that happening coming out of spring training.
Yeah, he has had stretches during which he has been really good, and you love that, and you're just saying to yourself, okay, can you build on that? Can you get more of that? Because if you can, then the Nats might really have something here with him. As for another Nats starting pitcher coming off serious injury, Josiah Gray. So he made a minor league rehab start for the AA-Harrisburg Senators on Saturday evening. 1 2/3 scoreless innings. He gave up 4 hits, but he had 2 strikeouts versus no walks, 32 pitches, 21 strikes, just 11 balls. So Sunday marks exactly 2 weeks until the end of the Nats season. September 14th is the date of Sunday. September 28th is the end of the Nats season. Where are we now on the Josiah Grayometer regarding him pitching for the Nats at the major league level this season?
So my understanding of how they're viewing this is this. Provided that he came out of this one fine, and, just based on the stat line, I think it was 4 singles that he gave up, and probably would have liked to get through 2 innings, but they didn't want to push the pitch count too much higher than that. So provided he came out of this one fine, he will make another one. That would be for Rochester sometime late next week. AAA is the only minor league still going next week. This is it for AA. Single A is already done. So Rochester is the only place to go for him for that one. And then their season is over after that. So you get to the final week of September, and if he's going to pitch again, the major leagues is the only place to do it. So what I was told is that they really are taking it start by start, that they don't necessarily feel a necessity to have him pitch in the big leagues. If he has the 3 minor league rehab starts and everything's fine, they would be comfortable sending him home, have a good winter, come back spring training, ready to go in 2026. But they're not going to shut the door on the possibility. If everything goes great, if they feel like there's something to be gained from doing it, if he wants to do it, they'll leave that door open. I think the concern would be he's not going to be really fully stretched out by then for a true big league start. So if you do it, you go into it knowing it may only be 2-3 innings, something like that. And remember, the rosters are not the old 40-man September rosters, it's 28. So you have to replace somebody else to do that, and understand that if he's going short, then you need somebody else to fill out the innings. So that could be a consideration of whether they think it's just worth it or not. The sense I got, again, they're very pleased with how this has all gone so far. They are taking it start by start. They don't feel like he needs to pitch in the majors, but they're not going to rule out the possibility. I think they'll figure that out once they get through next week in Rochester and have a week to go in the season.
Game 3 for the Nats against the Pirates, Sunday morning at 11:35. Cade Cavalli will be the Nats starting pitcher. And I do feel like we have to share this because we had some fun with this a few episodes back. The Nationals have been officially eliminated from postseason contention for this season. There now is the E next to the Nats when you look at the Nats on your MLB standings. So this is now officially a 6th consecutive non-postseason season for the Nats off winning the 2019 World Series. But I actually think there's a point to be made here, and that is this. In this new era in which we have 3 wildcard teams in each league, that the Nats remain mathematically alive for the postseason this deep into a season in which the team has been this bad is illustrative of you don't have to be great to make the playoffs. You know, this idea that like you have to be at 90 wins or else, that's not the case anymore, as we have seen. And I do think it's something to keep in mind for whoever is running baseball operations beyond this season. It used to be that you really have to build the ball club into a 90-95 win team. Now I think you're thinking more 85-88 wins. Of course you want the team to be as good as possible, but if you could just get to being an 85-ish win type team, you can make the postseason here. And I think that changes the way team building is viewed in MLB now as compared to how things were before you had 3 wildcard teams in each league.
Here's all you need to know about that. The Mets just lost their 8th straight game. And as we tape this, the Mets and Giants are tied for the final wildcard spot. They are both 3 games over 500. That's it. 3 games over. You said 85 wins. It might not even take 85 in the end. It might be 83 or 84 that gets you into the playoffs this year. Absolutely. You keep yourself around the 500 mark, you've got a chance with a hot September to get yourself back into it. Same thing's happening in the American League. It's a little bit better, but the Rangers, who kind of were out of it for a while, are a game and a half out of it. They're 9 games over 500. Cleveland is still in it, 5 games over 500. It is absolutely possible, and it's why no matter what the win total ends up this year, I do think there is a feeling that if you make some calculated additions to supplement what you already have here in place, that it's not as big a leap to get from, let's say, 68 wins, whatever they end up with, to 84. I know it's a big step, but it may not be as big as you think. And that's why it's just such a fascinating question. I can't wait to hear the answer from whoever ends up being named as the head of the baseball operations department. Do they feel like this group can get there? Can they add to what they already have here? Or do they feel like they're starting all over again? I think it's the number one question that they have to answer when they take over, because I do think there is a scenario in which you say they're not as far away as you might believe. And that's both because of the young talent they have here, but even more than that, as you point out, it doesn't take that much to get in these days.
The Arizona Diamondbacks won the 2023 National League pennant as an 84-win team that regular season. Things can happen now with 3 wildcard teams in each league. Just something to think about, as the Nats, yes, officially have been eliminated from postseason contention. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. Hit us up on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. Nats Chat is on the radio Sunday morning 9 to 10 on ESPN Richmond, which is 106.1 FM in the Richmond, Virginia area, and Sunday morning 9 to 10 on Priority Sports Radio 94.1 in the Virginia Beach area. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
The 1-1, swinging a fly ball right field. Back on this one, Reynolds still back, squares up, makes the catch shy of the track. Cruz tags, he's trying for second. Reynolds throw the head-first dive, and the shortstop Triolo can't get the tag on in time. And Cruz, with good base running, moves up 90 feet. He made the late decision to go back and tag, with Reynolds catching it, falling back onto his back foot. Didn't get a great throw off or get a ton on it. Cruz with a good slide, avoiding the Triolo tag attempt.